An educator abroad. Marc Fogel's ill-fated journey. Marc Fogel, an American teacher, embarked on a journey to Russia in August 2021. He carried with him a prescription for medical marijuana. This medication would ultimately lead to his arrest upon arrival in the country. Fogel's background as an educator painted a picture of a life dedicated to knowledge and cultural exchange. His arrest on charges related to drug smuggling came as a shock to those who knew him. The incident cast a shadow over his years spent fostering learning and understanding between nations. This marked the beginning of a tumultuous chapter, one that would test the limits of international diplomacy and raise questions about justice and human rights on the global stage. Trapped in the system, Fogel's imprisonment, and the fight for recognition. Following his arrest, Marc Fogel was thrust into the complexities of the Russian legal system. He began a 14-year prison sentence in June 2022. This harsh sentence sparked outrage and concern among his family, friends, and human rights advocates. Fogel's case quickly gained attention, with many believing the punishment to be disproportionate to the offense. The United States government, after careful review of his case, designated him as wrongfully detained by the Biden administration. This classification, coming late last year, was a significant step in acknowledging the injustice of his imprisonment. It marked a turning point in Fogel's story, signaling a more proactive approach from the United States government in securing his release. A diplomatic dance. Witkoff's mission to Moscow. Enter Steve Witkoff, a billionaire real estate executive and close friend of former President Donald Trump. Witkoff, who had previously served as Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, took on the role of negotiator in Fogel's case. His mission was clear: secure the release of the American teacher. In a move that surprised many, Witkoff flew to Moscow on his private jet to finalize a deal for Fogel's release. This marked the first known trip to Moscow by a senior United States figure since November 2021, signaling a potential thaw in the icy relations between the two nations. Behind closed doors, the mystery of the exchange deal. Despite the successful outcome of Witkoff's mission, the details surrounding the exchange deal remain shrouded in secrecy. The lack of transparency has fueled speculation and raised questions about the potential concessions made to secure Fogel's freedom. It remains unclear whether the United States or an ally agreed to release someone in return for Fogel. The specifics of the agreement have not been disclosed, leaving the public and experts to decipher the possible diplomatic ramifications. Section 5. A ripple of hope? Waltz's optimistic interpretation. Mike Waltz, who served as National Security Advisor during the Trump administration, offered a hopeful perspective on Fogel's release. He interpreted the exchange as a sign of goodwill from Russia, suggesting a potential easing of tensions between the two countries. Waltz went further to suggest that this could be a step towards finding a resolution to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. His statement, while optimistic, underscores the delicate balance of international diplomacy and the potential for even small gestures to carry significant weight. Section 6. The weight of silence, U.S. government response and public speculation. In the wake of Fogel's release, the U.S. government has maintained a notable silence regarding the details of the exchange deal. This lack of official comment has done little to quell the swirling speculation surrounding the negotiations. Some experts posit that the U.S. may have made concessions on sanctions or other diplomatic fronts. Others believe the release could be a gesture of goodwill from Russia, signaling a potential willingness to engage in dialogue. Without concrete information, the public and the international community are left to interpret the event based on limited information. Section 7. A fragile bridge. Fogel's release and U.S.-Russia relations. Fogel's release, while a victory for him and his family, unfolds against a backdrop of deeply strained U.S.-Russia relations. The ongoing war in Ukraine has pushed the two nations to the brink of a new Cold War. This context makes Fogel's release all the more significant. It raises questions about whether this event could be a stepping stone towards a more constructive dialogue between the two superpowers. Section 8. The Ukrainian shadow. Navigating diplomacy amidst conflict. The conflict in Ukraine looms large over Fogel's release. It serves as a stark reminder of the complex geopolitical landscape in which this diplomatic dance played out. Some analysts argue that Russia may be using such releases as bargaining chips to gain leverage in the ongoing conflict. Others suggest that this could be a genuine attempt by Moscow to signal a willingness to engage in dialogue with the West. Section 9. A precedent set. Fogel's case and the future of wrongful detention. Marc Fogel's case has brought the issue of wrongful detention to the forefront of international attention. His release, while a cause for celebration, also raises questions about the fate of other Americans and individuals held unjustly around the world. It remains to be seen whether this case will serve as a catalyst for increased efforts to secure the release of other detainees. The international community will be watching closely to see if this event marks a shift in how such cases are handled in the future.